Hello everybody, welcome to the Sound Test Room. Today we are taking a look at grid music. For the first part of this video, I'm going to show you some of the very cool things you can do with grid music. And then in the second part, I'm going to show you exactly how to set it up. So it's like a tutorial thing. It's very easy to use. It sounds great when it's triggering other instruments. It does have its own inbuilt synth, but I would seriously recommend you use this to trigger other instruments. Right, for the purposes of this session, I have set up this song here, song 3, and you can see I've changed some of the chords and things. And I have this for settings wise, I have the internal synth muted, and then for MIDI, I have this going to all sorts of stuff inside AUM on channel 1. This is the settings for the actual, we'll get into this in a minute. We do it in a minute, okay. First of all, I want to set this on cue. Let me just show you a grid. That's what the initial grid will look like. But it would be blank. And then I'm going to show you what all this does. Okay, so and how to set it up. So first of all, I'm going to select Q, which means I can just go bounce around, and every time it changes its 4 bars, you can set the bar length. It will swap to the next pattern. Okay, so also for the purposes of this, we shall go into AUM and I'll show you what I've got going on here. Okay, so it's not as complicated as it might look, but for the purposes of the demo, this is just for making sound. So this Addictive here, this is running as an audio unit, and its channel is receiving grid music on channel 1. These two here, Mersenne and Redshrike, are audio units. That is as well where I wanted to do multiple different things. And you can see that I've got that set to grid music. Same for this. I have this set to grid music. And then I have Funk Drummer, been boosted by Maximizer, little EQ with DDMF and 6144 and a transient to just shape it a little bit. It's not about that. And another percussive Louis Brazilian, or is it Afro Latin? I think it's the Afro Latin drum machine. There, this one. Okay. And then I have a Poison here, just midied up to my Oxygen keyboard, so grid music will not trigger Poison. And then for the sake of being able to mix it all into one blob, I've set all these routings here for mix bus A, and then just call the output one mix bus A, so I can control the volume of the whole thing over thing. So what I shall do is I shall close this down for a start, and then I shall start off the drums there, and then I shall go over here and start off this as well. Now it's linked up. So now we'll be all playing happily together, so we can turn up some volume here. Okay, so what you're hearing there, if I solo out the instruments, the grid music is playing is those 3. So if we we'll head on back over to grid music now. And I'll run through these patterns. Poison. So there you go. There's a quick session. There's the kind of thing you can do, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. So let's just start this thing from scratch. Okay, so we'll clear this session completely. So it's gone, and we can do a new session. Let's close grid music. Let's close them all. Let's get rid of all the apps we've just used. Yeah, apart from AUM, of course. And what we shall do, just very quickly now, just give you a brief idea of how I set this up, okay? So just making sure, right, so I used inter-app audio, and I used a funk drummer. Now, I'm not going to set the whole thing up, I'm just going to stick with this, okay? So there's your initial funk drummer patch there. So let's choose something like... lower take that down to about 100, start. Here we will set up a audio unit extension, and I will use it again, something like I'll use Redshrike, and I will route this to, let's close this, let's open grid music. And let's do a plus a new session. Let's go up to 120. I'm going MIDI. That's fine. Right, now we can now route that to grid music, so the grid music is playing Redshrike straight off the bat, and we can mute the volume in there for a sec, go back to grid music, and this is a new pattern. So create a new pattern here, and it gives you a couple of little templates, but let's go with a blank. It makes sense, doesn't it? When you first buy grid music, you may be a little disturbed. You may think, why is it not making any? I contacted the developer. It won't make any noise. The thing is, right, you need to, there's certain things you need to do here. So you edit the layout. This first one here, that is like a modulation. Okay, we'll get into that in a sec. And then that is a play control here. And then what we want to do is we want to start linking stuff together like this. But then we can, like, let's add a modulation in there. Okay, so that'll do for that. And then what you need to do is switch it on. And when it's green, it's on. See, they're off. So when they're on now. And here is where you we'll leave it at root C. Let's choose leave it at C major. And then any of these notes that you adjust by doing this up and down here like this will be in the key of C major. So you can't really go wrong, okay? So let's switch the modulation on, and let's also, our internal synth will be playing. So let's turn that modulation thing down. Let's play. Okay, so these are your steps, so it'll take a while for it to come around again. And this is where you can start to make adjustments down here. Let's turn the modulation up a bit. And this is where you can play with the internal synth here. Make that a bit faster. And then you can randomize. And don't forget you need to make connections, so edit layout. So we mute the if we mute the internal synth now, and we can nip back over to here, because I've got now this Redshrike linked to grid music. I can play Redshrike with grid music. So that's how you do that. So, like I said, in settings you have Ableton Link, you have your MIDI. It's kind of self-explanatory. And then you can duplicate any pattern you like. So this is a new one, right? So if we select it again, and we go up here to duplicate these two little squares, and we just duplicate it like this, we can then choose another key. I will leave it in major pentatonic. And then we could go back, say, to our thing here, and you will see that our thing has changed and we've created a new pattern. So if we go back to Q and then play again, but to add further variation, we could just select our pattern here, choose randomize, and then we will have a slightly different pattern to play with in our C major one here. So if we go to Q again, let's go back to E flat. You're getting a very, very cool variation in the sounds. And of course you can choose how it plays if you want to. And then don't forget your modulation thing as well, you can mess around with. Now also, here is another thing. These controls down here, okay, you've had a quick look at the synthesizer. That's for the internal synth. That has nothing to do with the Redshrike at all. The sequencer section, however, does have everything to do with how grid music plays your patterns. So if we just, we'll just close that for a second and we'll just start to play them and then we'll mess with the sequences to see what it does. So it won't change, it'll just stay on because it doesn't, what it doesn't have is a travel mode, a song mode sort of thing. That would be nice to see. But as a live performance tool, this thing's incredible because imagine what you can set up across the whole page, basically, and more. All these different chords, patterns, sequences. How many different synths you control if you're rooted like I was in AUM, just running off channel MIDI 1, you know. So here we go. Let's just play this and let's hear what the actual sequencer section does. So we can change the link volume, link speed. That'll change the steps. Across the top here, the changes. So how much time you'd have before it changed. And then here's the steps per beat. And this one, random branching. Probably see it selects the probability that a pulse will move in a random direction at a branch rather than the next clockwork direction. So there you go, guys. Grid music. It's really easy. It's great fun. Setting it up in AUM is super easy. Okay, if you want to know a little bit more about AUM, I've done lots of tutorials and things on AUM, but this was about grid music and ways that you can. I mean, I think I pretty much covered everything. You can, like I said, you can randomize your layers, you can edit your layers, you can do whatever you like. You can just mess around with it. You can join stuff up. You can have things triggered in, firing as much as you want. You can then switch these things on. These are the actual steps, like a little trigger sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So if you had a very basic one, like we just started with, and let's edit there. Let's just have that start, and let's join a couple together like that. Let's choose that to start playing, and then that G3 there, and then let's move that up to a C5. Make sure it's switched on, and then we can play it and see what that sounds like. You can see how it's working, yeah? Let's edit the layout again. Let's change that to a modulator. I don't know if this will modulate Redshrike. Yeah, probably not. I'd have to see if I can map it some other way. That's the point, though. The thing is that you can have great fun with it. It's easy to use. It's intuitive. Just remember that when you very first, if you've got it and you're not getting any sound, and you're a bit confused, go to edit layout. Make sure that this is square, and when you go back, make sure that you're connecting it to something. Okay, you can do it. I mean, you can do it any way you like. You can go mad, but make sure it's connected to something, and then make sure it's green. Make sure it's on a. If you want to hear it faster, put it on a higher number. Make sure that your notes are switched on. So and I guarantee you'll have some great fun with grid music. All right, so guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you later. There'll be links in the description for everything. I'll see you later. Have a great day. Ta-da.